question today isn't what the hell is that? It's why would you buy that? Because it fills a void in my life. See what I did there? As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey guys, welcome to the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're looking at a giant 1/4 scale statue from Berserk, which is a manga and also an anime. And if you're new to the channel, I've reviewed quite a few Berserk pieces, specifically from Prime One Studios. That's who made this. First one I ever got was this Guts piece right here, who's kind of the main character in the storyline. Now today we're looking at Void. Void is a spiritual being. He's part of the God Hand. He's an evil guy, and he actually turns Guts' best friend, Griffith, right here, into this evil femto creature, which I've also reviewed that statue. And femto becomes the fifth of the God Hand. Void is the first one I've actually received. I have the other three on order, and I'm stoked to have this guy in my collection. And honestly, I'm going to let you know right now, I did not realize he was this big.
That's what she said.
Today we are sponsored by the Coldest water bottle. Guys, I talk about it all the time, all the useful things it can do, from holding semen to the blood of a goat. But honestly, like today we're heading to the game. Mr. X is going to have about 50 beers. I can keep this in the car 100 degrees all day and it'll keep the water cold. Check this out. There's a link in the description below where you can win one, or you can buy one. It helps support the channel. Comes in all shapes, colors, sizes, and I seriously don't sponsor anything I don't believe in. This is seriously the best water bottle or thermos we've ever had, and we've tried about 30 different ones. So make sure to check it out. So we're going to dive right into the Extreme review today of Void from Berserk. Now Void is an interesting cat. Well, technically he's not a cat. I don't even know what the hell he is, but if I recall correctly, he's kind of the leader of the God Hand. He's also probably the most restrained. Him and I can relate because I practice #restraint when it comes to buying statues. Let's dive in talking more about this guy in the Extreme review, starting with concept. Now, what I love about Prime One Studios is they're tying all of these Berserk pieces together, but still keeping them separately. So you're going to notice some similarities and differences. First, on the sub base here, you'll notice some similarities to their other base. They all have this metallic, round sub base with intricate writing on the bottom. Now, so far of the two God Hand pieces I have, they have bloodied red skulls on top of that. And if I recall correctly, the other pieces do as well. So you see that going on. He's standing over all the people he's killed or taken their souls or whatever it is that the God Hand does. And you move up, he's a very simple character. He has this giant robe that's covering him, which you'll see during assembly is actually one huge giant piece and very heavy and big, believe it or not. As you move up, you only see two parts of him. One is his overemphasized hand. Now, I'm not sure if I'm digging this, but it could be very accurate to the manga. And as you move up further, he's standing there very solemn, and out of his hand comes the brand of sacrifice. Now, if you recall, most of the other pieces have that brand of sacrifice on the front, other than femto, so I'm assuming the God Hand pieces do not. Then you move up and you see Void sitting there very bored. His expression is very blank, very solemn, but he's a skull with a giant brainiac brain on top of him. So I understand that. You don't want to make him menacing because he always seemed a little sublime. Maybe he's just bored with being alive for millions of years. Just a magnificent character here, and he's really imposing, just standing straight up, taking so much room. I had no idea he was actually this big. But I like it. Most of these pieces are in a museum pose with a little bit of motion to them. You kind of have that going on here, but I'd say this is the most museum pose. But the concept's a little boring too, let's be honest. So I think the concept's a 3 out of 5. It's good, but not amazing. And if you're new to the channel, you're like, why is 3 out of 5 good? Because that's what you expect to get when you pay so much money. Now let's talk about design. He's very simple on so many aspects. First, with the unboxing and assembly, let's look at that. Crazy that a 1/4 scale statue had two huge boxes, but it did. Standard foam that we see with Prime One Studios, of course. The first box was just the base itself. This piece is actually pretty simplistic. The second box had Void, his hand, his head, and the brand of sacrifice. Here you can see it with the wax paper removed. All right, so as you saw, this is all the pieces there are. There is nothing else. There's no switch outs. There's no exclusive version. Let's measure him. The diameter of the circle is probably about 20.5 inches. For exact dimensions, go to Prime One Studio's website. And the tallest part of this guy, which is really going to screw with my display here, is over 35.5 inches. I'm going to have to rethink everything. Now, as I said, what you see is what you get. The only optional thing is this brand of sacrifice. So right here you see it. It's very plasticky. I'm not a fan of it. I understand what they were trying to do, but it looks so unbelievably cheap. Now you can remove it and it looks like this. But it does leave a little pinhole in his hand. So design, nothing really amazing either. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Now we'll look at the paint and sculpt, and it's done very well. I think of the other pieces out there, they're done better because there's more to them. But let's take a look. All right, so let's dive into this guy, starting with the sub base down here. Now the writing seems a little sloppier on the paint. Otherwise, everything else is what we normally see. It's that dark gray all around with the silverish cryptic writing on the side. But you're immediately drawn to the blood and the red. Now, a lot of people don't like bloody statues, so you're going to hate this, but I like it a lot. I love these deep, dark red and black colors that they mixed in with the skulls. What's really cool here is all of the expressions are different. And as much as I hate to say it, while the statue is very good, this is kind of the shining part of the statue. Has that glistening moist effect, which looks amazing. Now, Void's cloak. A lot of different things going on with this. This mix of dark blue, black, and gray colors. And it's almost like this cracked-like aspect to it as it flows down. It's much darker in person than it is on camera, although the lighting in here is pretty bad. Now, his robe kind of opens up this little slit right here where his hand's coming out. There's also this metallic aspect embroidered on it. You can see almost kind of like a zipper in a way, because you got to wonder, how does the boy get dressed in the morning? But I like the colors on it quite a bit. It really pops. Then on the back, you almost have, I would almost call this like a bone-like structure. So maybe the cloak is part of him. I don't know too much about Void. I'm only on volume 7 right now, so he's only appeared once, and that's when he converted Griffith to Femto. The hand I'm not as big a fan of. So I don't know if it's the colors, but it looks a little plastic effect to it, especially up here on the nails. It's cool for what it is. The sculpt's good, but the real plastic effect, again, is on this brand of sacrifice. Very cheap. And I understand why they wanted a material like plastic, but maybe it's the color of it. I am just not digging it at all. His hood looks great. Almost looks like a large open clamshell with these ridges in the back. Very bone-like structure, which same with his portrait. So he is a skeleton. I mean, he's not a skeleton, but it's very skeleton-like with his skin melting away from his face and just his gums and teeth bared. His eyes look like they're actually sewn shut, kind of interesting. And it's that same brown color with some reds added in that you saw on his hand. And then his massive brain here. Very intricate, another great part of the statue. It's not as dark as the reds that we saw down here at all. You can kind of see that difference. It almost looks like his skin is melted off on his face. Then again, his massive brain. So some pros and cons to the paint and sculpt on this one. Prime One Studios, this is kind of where they shine in the paint and sculpt. I'm not saying they did a bad job. I just say it's not up to their usual par, not only with normal 1/4 or 1/3 scale pieces, but with Berserk pieces in general. And don't get me wrong, this definitely has its merits. All right, paint. I think the paint is better than the sculpt. I think the paint is awesome. I'm going to go ahead, despite some of the flaws we talked about, and give it a 4 out of 5 on the extreme scale. Sculpt, part of this is because he's so simplistic, but nothing really elaborate other than the skulls on the bottom. So I think it is a 3 out of 5 on the sculpt for this piece. Now let's talk about value. I'm going to tell you right now, so far of all the Berserk pieces I have, this is number 7 with about 5, 6 more coming. I think this is the weakest. However, it's still done very well. Thankfully, they only made 200 of these, a very low edition size. And Berserk pieces seem to go a lot on the aftermarket. This retailed for $1,000, which is a lot for a 1/4 scale piece, but this is as large as some 1/3 scale pieces. Low edition size, highly sought after line. I don't think they're going to make another Void statue, so I think the value will still be a 4 out of 5. Now, what do I think of this overall? Does it have the X factor? It is really imposing simply because of the size. Like I said, I'm going to have to redo how I'm going to display everything. I have some ideas, but we'll wait and find out. So with that being said, I don't think he has the X factor. He's not a 5 out of 5 statue. I think he's very imposing, and like I said, I believe he's the leader of the God Hand, so that makes sense. He's bigger than the other characters. I still think he's a 4 out of 5 statue. This really, really strikes you. I think people are going to be drawn to it when they walk into the room, and I'm very happy that I have him. Now, the real question is, I don't know if I would have bought him if I wasn't getting the rest of the God Hand line. Honestly, he looked cooler in pictures than he does here in front of me, although he still is very cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. The reason I asked you to comment is because of this. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Can't wait to show the new Berserk setup for you guys. Of course, I got to rethink it, like I said. So if you want to see that, make sure you've hit that picture of me to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop me a like on your way if that really helps. And until next time, check out some of these other videos. Take care.